Las Vegas, the city of sin and sleepless nights. But sin here is no longer confined to the roulette wheel or the coins tossed in a casino. It has gradually seeped into every street corner, where even the law seems to be giving up. The neon lights still dazzle, and the giant billboards still beckon over 41.7 million visitors each year. But just a few blocks off the glamorous strip, you'll find a completely different Las Vegas, chaotic, unrestrained, and full of danger. Where exchanges no longer happen at the poker table, but right on the sidewalk, where dreams of changing your life quickly vanish in dilapidated shacks, leaving only darkness and despair behind. Some call Vegas the stage of lights, but behind that curtain lies a play that has never been allowed to be performed publicly. A play where humans become pawns, the law becomes the audience, and sin takes center stage. In today's video, we'll explore street scenes so shocking that even the police chose to stand aside. Stay tuned until the end of the video, because what was once considered what happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas anymore. The vices and lifestyles that thrive in the shadows here have been and are spreading across the United States, casting the same darkness over many other cities. There's a Las Vegas that most of the world has never seen. Behind the dazzling lights of endless casinos lies another reality, where vice is not only found at the gaming tables, but spills out onto the streets. And the epicenter of all those nightmares is none other than the Las Vegas Strip. Spanning a mere 6.8 kilometers, the Las Vegas Strip has long been considered the heart of the city, a convergence of all the most glamorous and dazzling elements. This is an entertainment and resort center, and also the stage for the most vibrant casinos in the United States, featuring iconic landmarks such as the Bellagio, Caesar's Palace, MGM Grand, the Venetian and Palazzo, and Paris Las Vegas. From a successful San Francisco entrepreneur to a retired teacher in Florida and even a poor worker from Kansas, they all share a common belief. Just one stroke of luck can change their lives. However, stepping into Vegas in 2025, one can clearly sense that the magic here has disappeared. All that remained were nightmares, as the Las Vegas Strip at night was no different from a giant roulette wheel. Some people win big, others lose everything, and some never leave that table, trapped in the inescapable spiral of sin and darkness. The fear isn't just in the luxurious casinos, it's also present right on the streets surrounding the Strip. The Strip is the area with the highest crime rate in Vegas, with the likelihood of becoming the next victim estimated at 31.4 per 100,000 people, a figure high enough to rank the city among the most dangerous in the United States. In recent years, hotel staff, security personnel, and even tourists who accidentally stroll out too late have become targets of violations, ranging from petty theft to serious, dangerous situations. These events rarely cause a public outcry, but they gradually accumulate, eroding public safety and threatening an economy that relies on tourism. A resident of Vegas frankly shared, "Never step out onto the Strip after 9 p.m. if you don't want to be the next victim." This city doesn't sleep, and neither do its vices. Even the casino owner and the police force were in a difficult position. They lack the legal tools to address the root cause, as these underground activities are always hidden in the shadows, and you'll never know at what moment you'll become the next target. Although crime in Las Vegas generally decreased in 2025 compared to 2024, that reassurance is only superficial. Just as one problem subsides, the seeds of other evils sprout in time. According to the latest data from the Metropolitan Police Department, incidents related to the nightlife industry have increased by nearly 50% in just 1 year, with the highest concentration in the central area and immediately adjacent to the Strip. That darkness is most clearly depicted in easily recognizable images. Girls in glittering outfits, walking back and forth between rows of cars, their eyes seemingly waiting for a miracle to shine upon them from this city. Outsiders can easily guess the purpose, but few realize that they are also victims. Behind the glamorous facade lies a harsh underground system where both people and dreams are reduced to raw materials to sustain the endless cycle of the night industry. Las Vegas is still hailed as the entertainment capital, but that very nightlife also opens up countless loopholes for illegal activities. As this vice piled upon vice, Vegas gradually earned a bitter moniker: America's capital of despair. If a city as vibrant as Las Vegas can spiral into injustice and darkness, is there anywhere truly safe for our old age? And if the dreams that were once the pride of America have now become nightmares on these very streets, what will we have left for future generations? And that's not even the whole truth. Behind the neon lights, darker corners and untold stories exist, waiting to be revealed. The magic of Las Vegas, by 2025, was no longer powerful enough to turn hopes into life-changing dreams. Instead, it is gradually transforming into a collective nightmare. Those who once dreamed of a big win now have to huddle on the sidewalk, as if paying the price for having too much faith in the dazzling neon lights of a tourist paradise. The city is currently facing a severe homelessness crisis. The latest report shows there are over 7,900 homeless people in southern Nevada, an increase of nearly 20% in just 1 year. But what's thought-provoking is, they are not just the lazy or troubled people that stereotypes often portray them as. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The truth behind it is far more complex and terrifying. Just one dismal summer of tourism is enough to shake the economic engine of Vegas. Revenue has plummeted, and hotels and casinos are simultaneously cutting staff. And it was the very people who once served tourists, from waiters and cleaning staff to casino dealers, who suddenly fell straight from a stable life onto the streets. It all happened in a flash, revealing the fragile and brutal gap between a roof and a tent. In fact, the homeless in Vegas not only spilled out of the casinos onto the streets, but also had to burrow underground to find shelter. On the ground, Las Vegas is a place where money flows like water. A neon sign can cost millions of dollars, and a night in a luxury hotel can cost as much as many people's entire monthly retirement income. But right beneath the feet of tourists, just a few layers of concrete away, there are lives forced to sleep among garbage, rats, and the constant fear of being swept away by floodwaters at any moment. It is estimated that between 1,200 and 1,500 people are living in the hundreds of miles of drainage tunnels beneath the city. For them, those dark tunnels were the only refuge from the scorching desert heat and the sudden cold winds at night. They were called by a rather unpleasant name: mole people. They turned culverts into roofs, scavenged for scrap to make household items, and survived on food left over from casinos or expired goods from Costco. And that's not all. Behind that miserable life are constant dangers. Leaking methane, poor sanitation, and lurking diseases. Conditions even harsher than wartime. Yet for them, this is daily life. More remarkably, instead of seeking sustainable solutions, the authorities poured millions of dollars into street cleaning campaigns, banning sitting, lying down, and even pushing carts containing meager belongings, a way to remove them from sight rather than save them from despair. That's the bitter paradox of Las Vegas. Money still pours into casinos, into dazzling shows to buy light and illusion, while lives right at its feet are treated as invisible. Is the real tragedy not just the people who have lost their homes, but also the fact that this society is gradually losing its ability to protect its most vulnerable members? And if a civilization can build palaces of light in the desert, but cannot keep a roof over the heads of citizens who have dedicated their lives, what have we truly sacrificed? In the middle of the Nevada desert, Las Vegas was not born as a naturally growing city, but as an oasis nourished by special flows of money and laws. The origins of Vegas are not tied to bustling seaports or industrial centers. but began in a barren desert, where the scarcity of opportunity created a thirst for a better life. That very vacuum paved the way for economic models that were still hesitant in many other places: gambling, nightlife, and activities based on selective legalization. When Nevada legalized casinos in the early 20th century, that decision not only changed the fate of a state, but also created a global icon. Las Vegas became a place where dreams could be decided in just one hand of cards. But along with the brilliant light came the formation of a parallel economy, where what was legalized brought with it shadows that were difficult to control. Gambling, which was an official product, paved the way for unofficial activities to follow. Many studies suggest that the Vegas economy was built on contradiction from the start. On the one hand, it offers job opportunities, attracts millions of visitors, and builds a brand for a city in the desert. But, on the other hand, it encourages get-rich-quick thinking, a culture that can easily lead to value distortions. Those who win big can become inspirational stories, but those who lose often lose more than money: their homes, families, and sometimes even their dignity. It's not hard to see that parallel right on the Strip. On one side are the brightly lit casinos where visitors wear suits, evening gowns, and drink expensive champagne. Across the street, just a few blocks away, are the tent camps of people who have lost everything. This city has long operated like a two-faced mirror. The brighter the light, the deeper the shadows. Some sociologists argue that legalization has created a huge grey area. There, the authorities find it difficult to distinguish between the formal economy and the informal sector. Nightlife, often touted as Vegas's main draw, also opens the door to complex social issues. From labor exploitation to crime hidden under the guise of entertainment. Although there are no unified figures, many reports indicate that Las Vegas is one of the cities with the highest rates of nighttime crime in the United States. Sadly, this vortex doesn't only affect those who directly fall into the trap of gambling. It's spread to the entire community. People working in the service industry, hotel staff, drivers, laborers, also became indirect victims. When the tourism market fluctuates and jobs are lost, they can also find themselves in a precarious situation. Thus, an economy built on legalization inadvertently pushes many people out of the safe zone, creating a city with increasingly deep divides. However, not everything was neglected. In recent years, some major corporations in Vegas have begun to balance profits with social responsibility. Caesars Entertainment, one of the leading casino hotel brands, has implemented various programs to support local communities, including vocational training projects, funds to assist struggling workers, and mental health awareness campaigns. This is not a comprehensive solution, but it is a sign that the city still has hope if resources are allocated more equitably. If a city can build an economy from the desert through legalization, do we have the courage to legalize both responsibility and compassion? And if Las Vegas continues to thrive on the illusion of a better life, who will bear the silent losses in the shadows? Las Vegas has long been a promised land for those who believe in a magical night. Neon lights, giant billboards, dazzling shows, all like an irresistible invitation. But behind that glamorous facade, the city also hides hidden traps where both tourists and residents can become victims in an instant. For tourists, the first trap comes from the very prosperity they seek. Thousands of seemingly harmless amusements, gambling tables, and nightlife services can lead to unforeseen losses. A night of trying your luck can turn into a huge debt. But Las Vegas isn't just a trap for tourists. Even the city's residents have to face hidden currents that are difficult to escape. People working in the service industry frequently face the pressure of unstable income. When tourism declines, they easily become victims of unemployment. What makes the picture more complex is how the system reacts. Often, instead of addressing the root cause, measures focus on image management to avoid harming the tourism industry. Strict regulations on gatherings, street wandering, or cleaning campaigns in tourist areas sometimes only shift problems rather than making them disappear. As a result, tourists can still inadvertently fall into the trap, and residents continue to be stuck in an unfair cycle. Amidst those uncertainties, there are still glimmers of hope. Some large corporations have begun to focus on social responsibility alongside profits. Wynn Resorts, for example, has implemented various skills training programs and support for struggling employees, while also partnering with the local community to raise safety awareness. This isn't a comprehensive solution, but at least it shows a direction, that the city can still exist in a fairer version, where light not only covers the darkness, but also helps illuminate the path out of it. If Las Vegas, built as a symbol of dreams and entertainment, contains traps that cost both tourists and residents, can we continue to praise it as a paradise? And more broadly, are we living in a society where sophisticated traps have become part of the economic structure, rather than just being intentionally set in the shadows? Las Vegas was once promoted as the ultimate destination for the American dream. A city that rose from the desert, ablaze with lights, ready to offer a chance at a better life to anyone. But behind that picture, a silent crisis is reshaping the face of this place: the migration crisis. Thousands of people from across the United States flock to Vegas, hoping to find jobs in the hospitality or restaurant industries, or simply a foothold in the tourism economy. However, instead of paradise, many people encountered harsh realities, and the city known as the entertainment capital gradually transformed into a ghost town with dark aspects that no one wanted to see. There is no completely consistent data, but many reports indicate that Las Vegas is one of the most popular migration destinations in the southwestern desert region. People come here with dreams of jobs, but the labor market, which depends on the tourism season, is more fragile than imagined. A summer with fewer tourists, a winter with empty restaurants, and immediately thousands of employees were laid off. For migrants with no family support and no savings, that shock is enough to push them off course, leaving them with nothing but the sky as their roof. Long-term residents are also not immune to the impact. As the wave of migration poured in, the demand for housing skyrocketed. The rent for small apartments has increased to a level that is unaffordable for many middle-class families and seniors living on pensions. As a result, a portion of the original residents were forced to leave the place they once called home, making way for fierce competition they couldn't keep up with. The city, once a close-knit community, is becoming a transient place, with a constant flow of people coming and going, leaving behind abandoned neighborhoods and permanently closed shops. In the image often seen in Las Vegas today, one can find motel areas that were once bustling, but are now gradually turning into ghost towns, with pitch-black rooms and sealed windows. On the other side of the city, new residential areas are springing up to meet the housing boom, but with just one economic crisis, they could also turn into rows of empty houses. This is the precariousness of a city that is almost entirely dependent on tourism revenue. Given this reality, the question is, can Las Vegas continue to sustain its growth model based on tourism and mass migration? Or does the city need a new strategy to protect both its native residents and those who come seeking new dreams? Some large corporations have begun to introduce initiatives aimed at somewhat mitigating the impact. MGM Resorts International, for example, has implemented various employee support programs, including skills training, temporary housing assistance, and partnerships with non-profit organizations to help vulnerable communities. Although they cannot completely solve the problem, these efforts still signal that change is not impossible. If a city built to embrace dreams has become a place to bury them, what is the true legacy we leave behind? And is there any way for Vegas to escape the prospect of becoming a ghost town in the desert? Or is that its destiny from the day it was born? Once hailed as a symbol of the American dream in the heart of the desert, Las Vegas is a place where the lights, music, and opportunities never seem to dim. But as we enter 2025, This city is facing upheavals that have many people asking, will Las Vegas still have the strength to rise again and return as a promised land, or will it only be a shadow of its former self? The signs of instability were evident. An economy heavily reliant on tourism is becoming more fragile than ever. In recent years, off-season tourism has led to a significant drop in revenue from hotels, restaurants, and casinos. When revenue is insufficient, the domino effect immediately appears. Staff cuts, increased unemployment, and a worsening housing crisis. Reported figures show that thousands of people who once had stable jobs in the service industry are now struggling to survive, with many even losing their homes and joining the growing homeless population. At the same time, Las Vegas also had to deal with an erosion of its image. Behind the dazzling neon lights are news reports of crime, vice, and illegal activities hidden within the nightlife. Tourists come to Vegas for entertainment, but many leave feeling uneasy or trapped by the city's hidden pitfalls. When a reputation is tarnished, the trust of international visitors and even domestic residents is shaken. What makes the situation even more complex is the increasingly evident social divide. On one side are luxurious hotel towers and expensive shows that still take place every night. On the other side are rows of temporary tents and dark tunnels where thousands of people cling to life. This very contrast creates a paradox. Las Vegas is both one of the wealthiest cities and home to one of the most vulnerable communities in the United States. However, it cannot be denied that Vegas has repeatedly weathered storms and sought to recover. The city has overcome financial crises, faced natural disasters and recessions, but has remained resilient thanks to its special appeal. The question posed today is, can the city once again reinvent itself in the face of growing instability? Las Vegas today is the clearest reflection of the fragility of a dream. The neon lights still shone brightly, but right beneath them were tents, dark tunnels, and forgotten lives. The city that once promised a chance at a better life now exposes the system's shortcomings and the losses that many people never recovered from. The remaining question for all of us is, if even a promised land like Las Vegas can falter and lose faith, then what will be a safe haven for future generations? And can we still dare to believe in an American dream, where true fairness and compassion are truly put first? If you've witnessed or experienced similar changes in your own community, please share your story in the comments below so we can reflect and contemplate together. And if you find this video insightful, please like and share it so more people can listen. And don't forget to subscribe to join us for our next stories. The content in this video is based on public information sources, social reports, and documented stories and phenomena. Some details are presented as general descriptions to paint a broad picture, not representing the entirety of reality in Las Vegas or any specific individuals or organizations. The purpose of the video is not to judge, blame, or make absolute statements, but rather to offer a perspective for the audience to reflect on existing social issues. We do not encourage any speculative, imposed behavior or the use of content in the video as legal evidence or professional research. All data and figures mentioned are for reference only and are subject to change over time.